The markets are closed, but the business stories are just heating up. Hello, I'm Mai Rodriguez. Catch up with us on Business Brief. The Bureau of Customs reports earnings of 38.2 million pesos from the public auction of luxury vehicles owned by contractor couple Curly and Sara Discaya. For more details, we turn to Ivy Reyes reporting on the line. Ivy, go ahead.
Mai, of the 103 million peso overall cost of the Discaya luxury cars auctioned to the public today, only 3 were successfully sold, totaling 38.2 million pesos. Because of this, the Bureau of Customs will settle on how to go about the next auction. Today, the depreciation value of all 7 luxury cars are set at 10%, and they're thinking of dropping it down to 16% and pull the floor price down to sell the remaining 4. The famous Rolls-Royce Cullinan is among the 4 unsold cars, including Toyota Tundra and Sequoia, and the Bentley Bentayga. Only the 2 Mercedes units and the Lincoln Navigator were sold at over 30 million pesos and 7.1 million pesos respectively. Mai, 2 of the 10 bidders failed to show up today due to pending requirements. And the highest bidder in this auction, Simplex Industrial Corporation, is tagged delinquent by the Securities and Exchange Commission, which means either it has not operated for at least 5 years or has failed to submit repertory requirements. Meanwhile, Listen 12 Jewelry, the buyer of the 7 million peso Lincoln unit, is a first-timer in bidding out cars, but is not new in the auction block when it comes to jewelry prices or purchases. While the block or the BOC failed to meet its 103 million peso target, they are far from disappointed as they underscore the rather immaterial value of symbolic restitution, especially in the face of multi-billion budget anomalies. The updated floor price will be released in the next 5 days. That is all here from Manila. Mai.
Ivy, did the agency specify how this revenue will be allocated?
Mai, both Malacanang and the Bureau of Customs confirmed today that no amount will be left staying at the BOC as all proceeds will go directly to the National Treasury. Mai.
Thanks for that report, Ivy Reyes. The Senate is allocating a record 1.38 trillion pesos for education, the largest in Philippine history, even as Education Secretary Sonny Angara faces kickback allegations. Advocates say strict oversight is needed to ensure funds reach students, not middlemen. Bilyonaryo reported the Philippine Business for Education, or PBED, is welcoming the funding boost, but it warns that without transparency, the system's deeper problems won't be fixed. The Philippines remains in an education crisis. 90% of 10-year-olds struggle with basic reading, and the country ranks near the bottom of PISA, or Program for International Student Assessment, in reading, math, and science. PBED Executive Director Bal Camua says that proper use of public funds is essential to make this investment count. The Philippine economy remains resilient amid governance challenges and global uncertainty. Secretary Arsenio Balisacan of the Department of Economy, Planning and Development on Thursday cited the steady growth, easing inflation, a strong labor market, and manageable debt. He says long-term reforms have strengthened the economy against turbulence. Growth eased to 4% in the third quarter, with full year 2025 at 5%. International forecasts project a 5.7% growth for 2026. The Philippines is emerging as Asia's rising culinary capital following the inaugural Michelin Guide selection and now hosting the first ever Terra Madre Asia and Pacific in Bacolod City. The global event brings together chefs, farmers, and food communities to showcase sustainable, locally rooted gastronomy, highlighting the country's rich food heritage and diverse regional cuisines. Tourism Secretary Cristina Frasco says the celebration connects food and tourism, empowering local producers while sharing Filipino culinary excellence with the world. The UNESCO World Heritage Site Mount Hamiguitan is facing severe threats from mining, which has already destroyed 200 hectares of forest and poses risks to nearby Pujada Bay. Environmental advocates warn mining endangers biodiversity, local livelihoods, and natural disaster protection. The mountain's unique forests, also designated as an ASEAN Heritage Park in Davao Oriental, shield communities from floods, typhoons, and landslides. On BNC's Weather HQ, the executive director of IDIS, or Interfacing Development Interventions for Sustainability, urges authorities to revoke mining permits and prioritize sustainable tourism and food security over short-term economic gains.
We're also working closely with the local government, the provincial government of Davao Oriental, to look at strategies, to ensure the protection of Mount Hamiguitan and Pujada Bay, and of course, to look at any legal possibilities, to be taken to stop the mining operations in in Barangay Macambol.
End of an era. Chocolate Lover Incorporated, the iconic Quezon City baking store known for its castle-like building, will close on December 27 after 36 years in business. In an emotional Facebook video, owner Annie Carmona Lim thanked customers, suppliers, and former students, saying the closure comes as her children choose not to inherit the business. She adds that she will now focus on caring for her grandchildren and that the Cubao property is up for sale, with updates to be posted on the store's Facebook page.
Gusto ko lang ipaalam na ang dahilan po kasi ayaw na rin po kasing manahin ng mga anak ko. Okay na po kami sa ibang bansa. Ako naman po mag-aalaga na lang ng apo kasi matanda na rin ho ako. Hirap na ako magbiyahe-biyahe. 3 taon ko na iniiyakan to. Kasi hindi ko kaya talaga. Baby ko kasi to Pero kailangan ko na nang magsabi ng goodbye. Marami po salamat.
We are taking a short break. More stories are coming up next. You're watching Business Brief. You're back in Business Brief. Ultra-Bilyonaryo Ramon Ang is emerging as a potential head caretaker of the government in some business circles as the flood control corruption scandal intensifies, threatening the country's political and economic stability. A babbler told Bilyonaryo.com that several influential businessmen see Ang as a stabilizing figure who could guide the country towards the next elections amid falling investor confidence and rapid cabinet reshuffles. Officials, including the Armed Forces of the Philippines, have rejected any talk of a junta, and the president has vowed accountability. But elite infighting and public outrage continue to fuel speculation about a transitional leadership ahead of the 2028 elections. The Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry welcomes the U.S. move to lift reciprocal tariffs on select agricultural products. PCCI President Nina Mangio lauded the United States' continued support for the Philippines' role in global trade. President Donald Trump recently signed a measure to exempt trade charges on coconut, coffee, tea, tropical fruits, and juices, among others. A new study shows the Philippines is ready for a bigger digital economy. Filipinos scored 7.93 in e-commerce confidence, the highest in Southeast Asia. Growth is slowed by logistics and regulatory bottlenecks. Delivery can cost up to 30% of an order, and rural shipments may take 2 weeks. Black Box CEO David Black says Filipinos have embraced online commerce but supporting systems lag behind, widening the gap between demand and delivery. The report calls for stronger government platform collaboration and targeted investments in last mile and regional logistics to unlock the next wave of growth. Parts of the Visayas almost experienced widespread brownouts on Thursday after the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines, or NGCP, raised a yellow alert due to thinning power reserves. The Energy Department, meanwhile, prepares to include more lower-income customers to the Lifeline rate program. Paolo Barcelon is on the line for the details. Hi, Paolo.
Mai, available capacity in the Visayas dropped to 2,500 megawatts earlier in the day, barely enough to cover the projected peak demand of 2,301 megawatts. This prompted implementation of a yellow alert from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., although the NGCP lifted it shortly after 1 o'clock this afternoon. According to the NGCP, the tight reserve was caused by multiple offline power plants. 9 power plants were on forced outage from April to November, 4 more since 2024, and 2 others that have remained offline since 2023. Another 18 plants, Mai, were running on derated capacities, leaving a total of 660 megawatts unavailable to the grid. This includes the unavailability of Unit 2 of the Therma Visayas Incorporated, or TVI plant, which provides 169 megawatts. Despite the alert, Luzon and Mindanao grids remain in normal condition. Meanwhile, the Department of Energy is expanding the Lifeline rate program so more low-income households can benefit from lower electricity charges. Energy Secretary Sharon Garin says 4-piece households will no longer be required to submit documents, as validation will be done directly from the DSWD. Non-4-piece households seeking to avail of the program will undergo field validation by social workers. The DOE and the Energy Regulatory Commission are also studying adjustments to the minimum consumption threshold so that more families, especially those recovering from recent disasters, can qualify. As for Meralco, the company assures customers that no disconnections will be made until the end of the year for households affected by Super Typhoon Uwan. Flexible payment options will also be offered to help settle outstanding bills. Mai.
Thank you for that report, Paolo Barcelon. The Department of Human Settlements and Urban Development is adopting the Plan Smart system to streamline standardized comprehensive land use plans. On BNC's Business 360, Housing Senior Undersecretary Henry Yap said the digital tool automates data compilation from government agencies. Instead of taking 2 to 3 years, Plan Smart for Human Settlements will generate an initial draft within 2 hours for use by local offices.
That way, there will be no more reasons for local government to say they do not have the resources or the manpower to be able to prepare an updated plan.
The Bagong Alyansang Makabayan, or Bayan, believes the DILG is spreading fear among protesters. On BNC's At the Forefront, Bayan Chairman Teddy Casino said the protest calls are within the rights of free expression.
That's one of the things the OA, political demands like the president resign or vice president resign, or that there should be a new government. These are part of our freedom of expression. As long as we do not do anything to actually, force the downfall of the government, as long as hindi naman tayo nag-aarmas sa kalsada, this should be allowed as part of free expression and the demands of the people. And I think they are very legitimate demands.
Yeah.
So definitely, by saying that, there will be, in effect, tinatakot nila yung mga tao to come up with these very legitimate demands.
Interior Secretary John Vic Remulla said they will investigate statements made during the EDSA People Power Monument rally. He noted some of the remarks were close to inciting to sedition. In other news, former Bamban Mayor Alice Go faces life imprisonment after being found guilty of qualified trafficking by the Pasig Regional Trial Court. The court also ordered the forfeiture of the multi-hectare Baofu compound that served as the nest of illegal pogo operations. Andrea Salve is on the line to give us updates. Hi, Andrea, go ahead.
Mai dismissed Bamban-Tarlac Mayor Alice Guo and her 7 co-accused have been found guilty beyond reasonable doubt by the Pasig City Regional Trial Court in the case of qualified human trafficking related to the illegal offshore gaming operations in Bamban-Tarlac. In the 111-page decision of presiding judge Annalyn Medes Cabelis, Guo and the others were sentenced to life imprisonment. Each of them was fined with 2 million pesos in addition to paying damages to the victim complainants. The court also ordered the forfeiture of the more than 7-hectare Baofu compound that served as the hub of illegal pogo, believed to cost 6 billion pesos. According to the prosecution, this is their first ever filing of organizing human trafficking under the anti-human trafficking law. 16 were originally charged by the prosecution, said Deputy State Prosecutor Olivia Torrevillas. Only 8 of them were convicted, 6 of whom are foreign nationals. The Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission welcomed the decision. Tapaok led a Bamban Pogo crackdown in 2023. They said this is not only a victory for the country, but also for the victims, some of whom are foreign nationals. Back to you, Mai.
Thanks for that report, Andrea Salve. We're taking another breather, a look at how Philippine shares did today when we return. Stay tuned. Philippine shares rise for the second straight day. The PSEI ended over 2% higher to 59.30. Among the sectoral indices, only mining and oil closed in the red, with property rising the most at nearly 3%. Advancers outpaced decliners 96 to 72, with value turnover at 15.7 billion pesos. All the day's most active stocks ended in the green, with pure gold rising the most at more than 6%. On currencies, the peso trades at 59.07 against the US dollar, down from the previous close of 58.94. Most Asian shares surged after Nvidia reports stronger than expected quarterly earnings, easing concerns that AI-driven stocks may have gone too high. Hong Kong's Hang Seng and China's Shanghai Composite are in the red, while other markets, including Japan, South Korea, Singapore, and Australia, are in the green. On currencies, the US dollar depreciates against the Hong Kong dollar and the baht, while remaining flat versus the Singapore dollar and the won. The Australian dollar is also flat against the greenback. Gold drops by 0.3%. Oil prices show a mixed trend. Bitcoin rises more than 3%, and Ethereum goes up by over 1%. Thanksgiving costs in the U.S. are easing. A traditional dinner now costs $55.18, a 5% drop. It's the lowest since 2021. Turkey prices fell over 16%, though many side dishes rose. Retailers are pushing store brands and cheaper meal bundles, a strategy also seen in Asian markets like the Philippines. U.S. inflation remains high, but tariff rollbacks on imported food could influence global trade flows imported to the Philippines. The International Monetary Fund warns of a global slowdown. The world's 20 largest economies are projected to grow just 2.9% by 2030, the weakest outlook since 2009, due to rising protectionism and policy uncertainty. A softer economy could affect trade, investment, and overseas jobs for the Philippines. Advanced economies may grow only 1.4%, emerging markets 3.9%. Inflation is easing, but G20 headline inflation is expected around 3.5%, with U.S. core inflation not back to 2% until 2027. The G20 meeting in South Africa will go ahead without Presidents Trump and Xi amid lingering trade tensions and higher tariffs. That's a wrap for today's Business Brief. I'm Mai Rodriguez. Join us again tomorrow as we bring you the stories that help you plan your next big, bold moves in business. Only here on the Bilyonaryo News Channel.